What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice Pacers. Guys, we weren't able to cover the game a couple days ago on Thursday against the Warriors. Kind of happy, honestly, we didn't. Not a great performance for the Pacers on that day. But here we are back with another one, guys. A lot better performance from the Pacers here tonight as they take care of business on the road against the New York Knicks. They defeat them 125-111, and the Pacers get to 30 wins on the season. And Derek take care of business, and I think pretty much handle business against another really, tightly contested team here that I think everybody will say is one of the better teams in the East. The Pacers do a good job on them and are able to take care of business tonight. Overall, Derek, what were your impressions from this game from the Pacers and this pretty impressive and nice bounce back win for them, considering kind of how uninspired they were a couple days ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to get your third win in your last four games. Really awesome because they've been having this long stretch of constant, last few games, and it's been a really long stretch here, but they've been able to finally get a couple good things going for them. The main part of this is I look at the score and then I look at some of the box sheet and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm surprised that this game was not higher in a blowout win for the Pacers. You blew them out in pretty much almost every category except for a few. Just ultimately, I think the biggest takeaway from this is really the only reason why this game was even at a 14-point lead for the Pacers was just because you did get a lot of turnovers in this game, 16 for the Pacers versus 9 for the Knicks. So Knicks took care of the basketball a lot better in this game than the Pacers did. And they were able to make 10 more free throws than the Pacers were today. So that definitely kept it somewhat relevant. But, I mean, again, like I said, you dominated this game in pretty much every statistical category outside of that. So it was definitely a great way for Indiana to be able to establish dominance against, like you said, one of the better teams in the East so far this year. So it was definitely a great performance to see the Pacers kind of put it all together here.
Yeah, and the Knicks were a team that were very active during the trade deadline, Derek. And a lot of people said, oh, man, are the Knicks now one of the best teams in the East? And so definitely great to see. And it's kind of funny, Derek, because, I mean, we all heard it. When Buddy Hield got traded, you saw those people taking to Twitter and stuff and saying, you just destroyed, this team's chemistry. You might have ticked off Tyrese Halliburton because that's like his best friend, blah, 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 blah. You just hear all this stuff from all these people that are very loud. And so definitely great to see the Pacers, and then of course that happens, against the Warriors. And then everybody's like, oh boy, here we go, losing streak incoming, blah, 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 blah. So it's just nice to see the Pacers winning in convincing fashion against a team that, who knows, Derek, very likely you could be facing here in the playoffs in a couple months. So definitely great to see there. And, you mentioned it, just really a dominant performance from start to finish. Derek, the only quarter the Pacers were outscored by the Knicks was the first quarter. They were outscored 27-26. And then from there, the Pacers outscored the Knicks every single quarter after that, by so 35-31 in the second, 30-24 in the third, and then finally 34-29 at the end of it in the fourth quarter. So the Pacers were really in control after that first quarter and really just didn't let up, and continued to extend that lead, especially in the second half, and definitely was great to see. You already mentioned some of the stats, but we can kind of get into some of them as well. The Pacers shooting better than the Knicks. The Pacers shot 61% to the Knicks 48%. The Pacers shot 48 from beyond the arc. The Knicks only 31%. The only, like you said, stat, which continues to be one of the biggest issues with the Pacers, is their free throws or lack of free throw percentage. They continue to struggle, and you just wonder, Derek, gosh, if they could actually be semi-competent in making their free throws, how many of these tight games that they've lost could they have won? I really do wonder that sometimes. But regardless, that's really the only thing the Pacers, that and the turnovers, the only thing that really even kept this game relatively close. And again, it's a 14-point win, so how close is that really? But you're like, this could have been more if the Pacers just would have done these things a little bit better. But overall, they out rebounded them. It really felt like it was a nice game from your bigs. Miles Turner had a really, really good game. He finished with 8 rebounds. He had 23 points on 31 minutes. I personally liked what you saw off the bench from Isaiah Jackson. He had 8 rebounds. He's had some rough moments this year, but I definitely thought it was a nice game for him on the boards as well. And it really helped the Pacers overall kind of dominate this game. And Derek, we obviously know what they can do shooting the basketball, but we know even more if they can, win the rebound game or at least keep it relatively close. This team can take care of business against basically anybody. And so that's what we really like to see there is the Pacers doing some of those things that they struggled in, primarily the rebound game. So definitely great to see them out rebound the Knicks here.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, in comparison to the last time that the Pacers were facing this Knicks team, and then you had that sort of situation where they were just dominating you in the paint as of late. It was very interesting, Cody, because up until I think it was like 10 minutes left in the third quarter, I don't think the game ever got to a point where the lead for either team was greater than 5 points. So it was a very tight game for the first half. No team really taking an advantage over the other. And then, like you said, in that third quarter, the Pacers really started piling it on late, and they were just too much for the Knicks. So it definitely is interesting, to say the least, on that regard. Looking at the box score is very interesting. The only guy on the Pacers who did not score a single point was Doug McDermott, who had 7 minutes and only attempted 1 shot. So, relatively uneventful day for Doug McDermott. But, I mean, again, it was just another efficient day for the Pacers, Cody. I mean, you shoot 62% from the field. You're doing something right, man. I mean, the numbers were great. I mean, Siakam, 8 of 13 from the field. Miles Turner, a perfect 9 for 9. So talk about efficiency there, right? Nembhard shooting 50%. Halliburton shooting 50%. Almost 50% from 3. Obi Toppin actually had, a couple buckets there and there. And if he hadn't missed that dunk there, he would have been a perfect 4 for 5 with that sort of field goal percentage. Like you said, Jackson, 5 of 6. TJ McConnell off the bench, 8 for 10. I mean, that dude has been a model of consistency. I mean, it's been incredible. The only guy that had a negative point differential on this team today was Doug McDermott, and he had a -1. So, I mean, if only one guy on your team has a minus point differential and it's only a -1, you know that you're doing some really good things for the Pacers, man. Their starting 5 really feels like it's coming together in a really great harmony. Halliburton hits 30 minutes for the first time since he got that injury. So it's really great to see him kind of get the same amount of minutes that these other guys are. And, it's also a great thing, Cody, because I look at the stat line for the Knicks and, you see some of these players for them have to, go 35 to 40 plus minutes because of how decimated they are with their injuries and all these other things. And that is what's going to be an Achilles heel for the Knicks after the All-Star break, is if these guys aren't getting back to full strength and these guys keep racking on these 40-minute performances, then that can really do some damage to your long-term energy and fatigue levels. So it's really great to see, like, most of your guys. I mean, Nembhard had the most minutes today at 34, and everyone else barely cracked 30. So, I mean, it's been really great to see the numbers spacing out and the Pacers still finding a way to dominate with their bench.
Yeah, and the fact you talked about how well they shot it, I thought that was definitely interesting. You mentioned, shooting 61% and 48% from beyond the arc. And you look at one of the guys that's been probably one of your best shooters all year off the bench, Benedict Mathurin, did not have a good game today shooting
Yeah.
the basketball. He was 2 of 6, and his only 3-point attempt he missed. And so just an off day for Benedict Mathurin, but the fact that he missed 4 of his 6 attempts, and you still were able to shoot over 60%, that's darn impressive. That's really darn impressive. And with Tyrese Halliburton, man, talk about just having him back and just how the offense and the team really flows through Tyrese Halliburton. I don't know if you saw the one kind of crazy thing that Tyrese Halliburton did, but it's just like that dude's just unbelievable.
I'm surprised it took us that long to mention it.
Yeah, he took the jump
off the backboard and then only to get the rebound and throw it to Siakam, baby.
Yeah, he didn't want to travel, so he jumped and knew he was in trouble. So he just that's what you do, man. I don't know if you ever played those when you lowered the rim down and you just you throw it up and you go and dunk it. That's the vibes it gave me. But of course, he does that, passes off to Siakam, who's wide open, and just obviously makes that 3-pointer. It's just like, man, that's just the stuff that you just can't get with anybody else on your roster. And that's just a special, ability of a guy like Tyrese Halliburton. So like you said, so great to have him back. Obviously he's not 100%, but getting a lot closer than we've seen him. And now you have a little bit of a break with the All-Star break, which is nice. Hopefully he can be back at 100% after that or near that. But definitely great to see, because he was questionable coming into this game. So it was definitely great to see him, being able to do that as well. Derek, we've already talked about guys like Aaron Nesmith, who, just again, another solid day for him, even though he wasn't shooting the best he's been, a solid day overall. But I think one guy that, they'll never show up on the stat sheet, but we need to talk about him, because ever since, Buddy Hield got benched, this guy's been stepping in. Andrew Nembhard. Now, 7 points on 34 minutes. You look at that and you say, okay, that's not great, but it just feels like the offense is just so much more efficient with Nembhard. And again, he finishes with the best, plus minus point differential here in this game with 14. Yeah. And it's like he's never going to be a guy that's going to drop, 20 to 30 points, most likely, unless he has to. But he just feels like a guy that's a distributor. He makes the offense flow when he's out there. And I just think when you see the difference between him and Buddy Hield, it's very clear that even though he maybe will never show up, as the leading scorer on the Pacers, maybe he will, maybe he can take that. But at least this year right now, he's never probably going to be one of your top scorers. But the way the offense runs so much better with him in the starting lineup. Rick Carlisle's talked about it. You got to talk about a guy like Andrew Nembhard and just what he means to this Pacers team, kind of being that, fill-in, starting now shooting guard for the Pacers. So definitely love to see that from him, and just that he's been getting some love from the Pacers and obviously a lot of minutes as well. So what do you think about, him and obviously just the other guys here on this team tonight?
Yeah, Nembhard, stepping into that shooting guard spot. He had the most minutes tonight. So that's pretty crazy to say. And it is funny that, he had the fewest amount of points tonight for the Indiana Pacers when it came to your starting lineup. Heck, more than half your bench outscored this guy. But yet, Nembhard had the most minutes, was still shot 50% from the field. And he gave you 7 points. He got you a rebound and 4 different assists. And was the only starter that didn't turn. He was really the only guy that got more than 10 minutes today that didn't turn the ball over. So, there's something to be said about Nembhard. It's like, so why is it that he's doing so well with the point differential? And it has to be just simply due to the fact that he's very selective with his shots. He doesn't make bad ones. And on defense, you see him running around. This is a guy that definitely takes pride in playing on the defensive side. He definitely is a guy that can cover. He's someone that can get you a few steals every other game when he's able to. This is a guy that plays really hard, and he knows that, hey, this is my time to kind of cement myself in here. Mathurin did not have a great game. We kind of expect Mathurin to maybe at some point seclude himself into that starting shooting guard role. But maybe it might be to where the Pacers need to suggest, hey, Matherin, you're not going to be that guy. You're just going to be our sixth man coming right off the bench because you're our best scorer on the bench whenever you get hot. And Nembhard just being that energetic guy that can just be all over the court, that may just be the hidden tool that the Indiana Pacers need at that spot. Because, like you said, it's all about the consistency. It's not about having the flashy numbers. You know, Halliburton can get you 20. You know, Miles Turner can get you 20. You know, Siakam can get you 20. Heck, you know, Naismith can get you 20 on any other night when he wants to. So it's not about the scoring with Nembhard. It's just about being able to defend the guys on the wing that are the shooters on the other team. And I think that Nembhard does a really fantastic job with that. And that's why he's getting that spot right now. So I really like it. And like I said, there's not much more you can really say about it. I mean, other than just how efficient this team has been. And it's really awesome to be able to head into, the All-Star break here coming soon, the way that Indiana's doing it right now.
Yep, exactly. And for Nembhard to be, a late second round pick and doing what he's doing, it's great. I love to see that. Definitely great to get some, some serious minutes from, your one of your second round picks a couple years ago. So great to see that from Nembhard. But yeah, overall, I mean, you just look at this team. You mentioned outside of Nembhard, every single player in double digits when it comes to scoring. And so just overall, it wasn't like one guy just completely took over this game and scored 30 or 40 for the Pacers. It was very consistent with Miles Turner 23, Halliburton 22, Siakam 19, Naismith 13, McConnell 16. So just a lot of teamwork in this game, which was definitely great to see from the scoring wise. And so the Pacers, big win for them. And, it might, who knows, man, could that help with the seeding later on the playoffs? I'm not sure, but we will see on that. But guys, let us know your thoughts here on the Pacers' latest win against the New York Knicks. What were your thoughts on this game? Were you encouraged from how the Pacers responded after their really, I would say, embarrassing night in a lot of ways against the Warriors a couple nights ago on Thursday? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, guys, go Pacers.